people are getting tired of these morning sessions, but like I've been saying many times, these lives are kind of fun. Not just kind of fun, they are super fun. So therefore I'm hosting these several times a day. Yesterday I had 3 hours of live sessions. By the way, it's funny how colors look different when you see yourself in a video photo footage. Like gray. I don't know, it just looks completely different compared to, and this might sound so silly, but. So what's the agenda for today? Waiting for people to show up, if anybody wants to show up today. What's the agenda for today? What's today's signal? Number one, I need to record a new long YouTube video. It's about flipping versus holding. Again, about real estate business. Since that's my coaching focus right now. So I'm going to do that. But before anything else, I'm going to go and train this morning. So my workout, my gym session, which is going to start whenever I'm done here. I'm just drinking my morning caffeine and just got my amino acids and greens into my system. Getting ready here. But we'll see if anybody wants to join this or have a chat with me. In the meantime, I'm trying to edit my yesterday's live recording. I don't usually do any post-production stuff. It's just basically whatever I put together as far as the live recording goes, and then just leave it like that. Meaning there's no thumbnail other than what YouTube generates. The title is basically a suggestion from YouTube as well, and the description, very, very little post-production stuff. That's the whole idea of this, because otherwise it would just get way too heavy workload-wise to just look at it all. I mean, do a lot of editing. I have somebody who does that for my shorts and for my longs, so these lives are just something that I just do with minimal effort. For some reason now this is not really doing it, but I don't know, sometimes it's analyzing the video for so long. I have this vidIQ extension on my browser on Chrome, so if you're using YouTube, I suggest you pay for their service. It's actually pretty good. I don't really follow too many of the suggestions as far as the titles go, but it's just it's something that helps me a lot, especially in terms of coming up some titles and descriptions and whatnot. Let me go and see. I'm going to do what I did yesterday, which basically is going back to my calendar. I like to, in the morning, I like to reset my mind. And I like going back to my previous notes to myself and the conversation I've had. I have this diary, online diary that I use while online. It's a WhatsApp chat with myself. And I like revisiting the old entries. This is what I wrote. Hold on. This is from May 24. When was the last time? I thought I already covered this. Anyhow, yeah, this is what I did last. I was in May. there's no balance. Everybody's balance is different. That's what we discussed yesterday. Yeah, I was at May 14th. Before social media, there was no outlet for people to vent out, to express their negative feelings. In the past, it used to be the dinner table conversations. Banning social media, good luck. What do you think would happen to blog posts, comments, or Reddit forums? This is just, I'm just reading my notes to myself from May 24. And this is just, I guess, was a comment to myself and people who were wondering why social media can be so mean and why people are just posting negative comments. But like mentioned in May 24, those comments have always been there. In the past, we didn't have that public forum where people could post their comments. It was just the dinner table conversations. So welcome to my live. I'm just resetting my mind for the day. Welcome to the live of real estate investing and business coaching. What's today's signal? Today's signal is to hit the gym and then record a long video, new YouTube video, and be ready with that by the end of the day. And other than that, get ready from 0 to 1 and reset again, start from scratch. That's the thing. I start my mornings the same way always. I have my green and amino acid drink in the morning, followed by some caffeine, and then I either have breakfast or go to the gym. When I come back from the gym, I have my so-called first solid meal. But today, like I said, today's goal is very simple. I'm going to train, then I'm going to get ready and record my new long YouTube video. I need to be able to get that to my editor so that he can post it tomorrow, because I have this very strict schedule that I follow. Strict. It's a 30-day plan, content plan, that we started using when I hired this guy to be my so-called social media manager, whatever that means, but content manager. And together we put together a roadmap for the next 30 days. We have a bunch of shorts, bunch of LinkedIn posts there, but the bread and butter is the long YouTube content that I create about real estate coaching and business and investing overall. So that's what I do. And for those of you who haven't met me, I'm the biggest believer in understanding what's relevant, what's not every day, because people concentrate on all the noise. 90% of what people tell us and what's out there is just complete bullshit. So the hardest thing in life, in my opinion, is to see what's relevant to you, applying that 10%. And then once you know what that 10% looks like, then just being able to say no to everything else. I used to be a yes man. The reason why I talk about this so much is that focus is the number one thing. Time is our most valuable resource, and with time we get attention, and then attention can be allocated to certain areas. And if you divide that attention to too many places, you don't really have priorities, you don't have focus. I used to think that I have to keep all the doors open so that I don't really say no to anything, so that I would have a backup plan, an insurance plan, and all the doors would need to be open or remain open. But I just realized maybe, I don't know, a few years ago, late, that it just, honestly, because getting good at something takes so much time and effort. So honestly, I just have to be able to say no to the stuff that's not relevant. First, I need to be able to see what that relevant stuff is, and then just keep saying no, let certain fires burn. And it's just hard. It's just super, super hard. Humans are going to talk now on the internet because they can hide. In the past, the platform did not exist. The repercussions were too great, and the effort to say them was too high. Think about it. Yeah, before social media, people were the same. I think that comment that, maybe some people are depressed and have some mental issues, whatnot, that's true. But I think overall, those comments have always been there, meaning the bad comments, the need to vent out and point fingers and stuff like that. But before social media, there was no outlet. So it was that dinner table conversation with your friends or with your family members. So of course, those conversations remain private. Now you have these forums, you have these platforms where people can just, express their feelings. and it's fine. I think if we are complaining, meaning complaining is the same as not accepting reality or not understanding the way this world works, ultimately. Social media has exposed us. It didn't change us. For you, there's a person online. For those of you who are online or watching this after the fact, I am reading my notes to myself. Why am I doing it? This is kind of like my diary. I have this WhatsApp chat with myself where I record stuff, videos, posts, pictures. The reason why I do it is that every time I read these, revisit my old notes, I get something more out of them. I can put things into perspective. To my own clients, I tell them all to do the same thing. It doesn't need to be a WhatsApp chat. It could be just traditional pen and paper, but make sure that you capture those moments and document your life so that you can go back, and then make sure that you read them. When I worked in corporate, I was a big note taker, seminars, trainings, whatever. I was like, yeah, I have to take notes, but I never read them. It's like completely useless. We need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. So revisiting the old stuff is golden, in my opinion. Social media, we became friends with our kids instead of being friendly to our kids. Bad parenting that was well intended. This is from Gary Vee. When I was watching his podcast, I just took some notes about that. He talks a lot about how society is getting so soft, and how I'm a dad myself, so I can definitely relate to this. If you still have your 20-year-olds on your payroll, you pay their phone bill, the biggest thing you can do for them is to cut them off and tell them that, look, I believe in you, you'll be fine on your own. You don't need my support all the time, because life is supposed to be hard sometimes, and being able to deal with adversity when you're a little younger is going to just be so important, because life is going to start at some point anyhow. We're going to have to face those challenges. So the earlier you learn that, the better off you're going to be. That's how I look at it. It's the hardest job, parenting. No judgment. We became incredibly good at blaming everybody else. Think about social media overall, how it decentralized attention. What does that mean in practice? So decentralized attention. So in the past, attention used to be in these platforms or forms of medium that were controlled by these giant companies. So in order for me to express my message like this to everybody out there, yes, the audience is not big in the beginning, but anyhow, I would need to get a yes from, 50 million different people. All the stakeholders in the value chain would need to say, yeah, you look good enough, your message is strong enough, and you fit our portfolio and profile, and this and that. And the competition is fierce, obviously, and it would cost me a lot, basically buying ads to be able to broadcast this, what I'm saying. Now I can just grab my phone and start a live session, and the whole world, in theory, can watch this. So think about it. That's what decentralized attention means. And to all the business owners out there, and I don't talk enough about this, and people don't talk about this enough, decentralized attention means that everybody has the same opportunity to start from scratch and let people know that we exist. So if you are out there, you don't have to be an entrepreneur like me. You can be just a corporate employee or whoever. I don't know, just a minor who still goes to school. But if you want to so-called paint those steps for the future and build your brand and have that unique digital fingerprint going forward, I think building your personal brand, or doing everything you can to do that, is the most important thing you can do, because this thing is free. Decentralized attention, that's free. Everybody has the same opportunity to let everybody else know what they're up to in preparing themselves for the future is just huge. So if you're not doing it, if you don't want to face the camera, That's fine. You can start writing blog posts or do something else. That's okay. You don't have to face the camera and talk to people like I do right now. But video just happens to be the most powerful way of delivering a message overall. None of us today have to be chosen by anyone to appear on screen or on paper because of social media. Yeah, that's what it means. You don't have to be chosen by anyone to show up here, because in the past, like in the TV world, like I just said, the production company, the agents and the directors and the producers and everybody, the channel managers or the CEOs of, I don't know, NBC, I don't know, at least in theory, would need to sign off on you or me being on live TV. Now I can be on my own little live TV right now with 0 people watching, but still me ranting here, talking to myself, which is good practice, by the way. One of the reasons why I also do this is that I find myself being more and more comfortable in recording my own long YouTube videos since I do this stuff. I use less filler words. I'm, I guess, more fluent in a way. This is the best practice ever. So if nothing else, I can connect with some of those 30,000 subscribers that I have, plus then whoever wants to tune in when I'm here, if our schedules are aligned. And then I can get better. Being able to deliver your message, being able to provide your arguments, reason, pause, understand what the right cadence means. All of that is just happens or takes place after putting enough reps in. And that's one of the reasons why I do it, just talking to the camera and being comfortable with silence, which, as you can probably see, is hard for me. Not saying anything to people. It's freaking hard. I don't know why. I just don't like silence. Maybe I always want to be in control, which takes me to interesting personality traits or character traits. I've always been the kind of guy who wants to be in control, in driver's seat. I don't know, what about you guys? I mean, if you have any comments there, let me know. I mean, the last 2 morning sessions have been super interactive. So I kind of look forward to any comments. If you feel bad, just let me know. I mean, I might look stupid in your opinion, or whatever I say might be complete bullshit in your opinion. That's fine too. I don't mind. Did you know that 630,000 annual income in the US puts you in the 1% of all earners in the United States, also known as the 1% lifestyle? This is what I wrote to myself. What do you think it takes to get to that 1% level? Easy. If you want to live a life on your own terms, be your own boss, choose your own schedule, and be financially free, it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's called the 1% life. I don't make 630K right now. But I think one of the things for people to understand is that if you want to get to a certain place, you already need to start behaving that way before being there. So what are those behaviors? What are those habits? What I always do is that I do a gap analysis. I go from point A to point B. I'm like, okay, so what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I don't have right now that I need to have in order to get to my goal? And then I identify those variables, those little gaps. And then basically being able to get to my desired outcome is the same as being able to control those variables. Sounds super simple, which ultimately it is, but doing it in real life is extremely hard. So the 1% life in the US is the 630K if you want to measure it using money. There's obviously other ways. You can live your life like you are independent and free, which I think should be everybody's goal, but you don't just measure it with money. That's fine too. If you're an athlete on the field playing football, how the hell can you listen to the fans on the sidelines eating popcorn? No tolerance for friends or family members who have opinions from the sidelines. I appreciate it. It's often well intended, but they are not playing, so it's irrelevant. Another way of saying what's signal, what's noise. Steve Jobs was known as the guy who was 80% signal and 20% noise, according to certain people who knew him, meaning he was exceptionally good at understanding what needs to be done today. Maybe it's one or two things, usually it is, and then saying no to everybody, everything else, and everybody else. He was rude, socially awkward, was willing to walk away from situations just to be able to focus on signal. Elon Musk is probably another guy who's, according to, again, some other people, I don't know either one of them. Obviously, Steve Jobs passed away, but I don't know those people. But according to many, Elon is probably 100% signal and 0% noise, meaning he's exceptionally good at focusing on that thing that matters and saying no to everything else, just like literally. And that's hard because of the social pressure and everything else in the world. People have expectations, and the younger you are, the harder it is. In life, you always find what you're looking for. If you're cynical and pessimistic about everything, I have good news. You can find it. Again, reading my own notes to myself. This is what I usually do in the mornings when I set the tone right for the day. I recap what's been important in the past, and then I just try to apply those learnings, revisit the notes, make sure that I'm ready. Today's signal is to train and to record a new YouTube video. That's what I need to accomplish today. If I do that, I have a good day. I go from 0 to 1, meaning 0, I have nothing in the tank and kind of nothing accomplished in the morning. I'm well rested, hopefully. And then 1 means that I got done what I was supposed to get done during that day. And tomorrow, guess what? I go back to 0 in the morning, and I have to reset my mind again and find a new set of priorities. Many people get disappointed when they think that there's something left in their tank at the end of the day. It's like having this illusion that you can have this large enough meal that you're never hungry, or have one really well-rested night, and then that's it. Nothing else. Nothing else is needed, but it doesn't work that way. You're going to be disappointed if you think that that one large meal is going to keep you full forever. No, in 4 or 5 hours you have to eat again, and then again, and then again. That's how life works. Just be willing to do those boring things every day from scratch again, all over. So send some questions to me, comments. In the past, like the last 2 sessions have been super interactive. So, I mean, you don't have to, of course, but I'm just curious to see what people have on their mind. It doesn't need to be business related. It can be anything. I like having conversations about any topic. As you can see, I can talk forever. However, if you're optimistic, the news are even better. There's unlimited opportunity for those looking for it. People in general have a very poor understanding of the world and the way things work. Those with the big picture in mind have an edge. Entrepreneurship is the same as losing constantly with an occasional win. Half delusional, half optimistic. Think about it. That's crazy. That's what it is. I'll give you an example from my life. There's nobody online right now, but if you're watching this after the fact, what does half delusional mean? So like me in this case now, okay, I started my coaching business a little over a year ago. That's when I started creating this content here, okay? Being an entrepreneur is half delusional, half optimistic. So the question always comes to my mind when you go through the grind and it's hard. There's adversity, there's challenges, and nothing seems to be working, okay? What do you do then? Do you push or do you pivot? Are you just early or are you delusional? Those are one of the hardest questions that anybody who's trying to build something new has in their mind constantly. I'm no different. Am I early or am I delusional? Meaning, am I early because I don't make enough money doing this as a full-time job or not job, building a business. I'm a big believer in my own abilities that I'll get there one day. But if I just keep struggling, when is the point when I just say that, okay, am I just delusional that I don't have it what it takes? Or am I just early? What's the threshold? What's the limit between early and delusional? If you're starting your own company, okay, when do you expect to start making money? If you're into sneakers and you sell shoes online, okay, so you have some upfront cost. You have to build your website, you have to have your landing page, you have to start advertising, you have to maybe have a little bit of inventory unless you do it, the drop shipping way. Meaning probably that's what people do nowadays online. So you have Amazon and these service providers who can give this, who can do it for you. They can handle the invoicing, the behind the scenes logistics, the warehousing and all of that stuff. So you basically, all you got to do is build a brand and start marketing. But when do you say, okay, what's your deadline first of all, as far as when do I need to start making money? In a month, in 6 months, in a year? I don't know. When comes a point when you're like, okay, am I just early or am I still delusional? That's hard. That's one of the hardest things being an entrepreneur, just believing in yourself. And sometimes people could be struggling for 4 years in a row and then they just quit and they didn't know that maybe the fifth year would have been the one when they could have, broken through. You never know. And that's so hard. Those companies that made it, do you know how close many of them got to just calling it quits and not just be willing to try anymore? I think it's just much more common than people think. Of course, there are bad ideas, or there might be good ideas but bad executions, a combination of both. But that's what I think about a lot. Am I just early or am I delusional? That's what entrepreneurship is. Half delusional, half optimistic. Organic social media content is the starting point of marketing. The single most important thing in all of marketing today is organic social media, then everything else. That's what Gary Vee says. Gary Vaynerchuk. I've been watching his content a lot, especially when I started thinking about social media as the way to go and build brand and start advertising my coaching business going forward. So Gary Vee says that he does podcasts and long form videos to make shorts. I think there's probably other reasons too, but if you're scared of losing, you've already lost. It's only a matter of time when it happens. Losing is part of life. Yep. I was way too comfortable not comfortable. I think I was one of those people who was avoiding losses too much. I've talked about this a lot. I was way too outcome driven, and therefore I had to be in control all the time because I measured my success and my happiness based on what I achieved, not based on the story that I got. And it's been one of the biggest changes in my life to be able to shift my mindset from that outcome-driven mindset to understanding that I win no matter what. I either get that desired outcome or an epic story. People have a hard time understanding that, but that's just the way it works in my opinion. Because life is a series of micro-level losses followed by an occasional macro-level win. So if you always measure your happiness based on what happens on a daily basis, if you had a flat tire or if your fridge broke or, I don't know, you lost your AirPods, whatever, you're just going to be disappointed constantly. Those are just epic stories that turn into stories that you can laugh about at some point. So I think that's just the way it goes. You just have to change your mindset. Every 60-minute meeting is a 30-minute meeting. What does that mean? Fast. The only thing that beats free is fast. Think about it. So being able to make faster decisions, decide on the spot, being able to cut everything in half as far as delivery times go and whatnot is a big value element in and of itself. How can you start that? Turn every 60-minute meeting into a 30-minute meeting and push people a little bit and say, okay, we don't have to be here drinking coffee. We don't have to sit down, we can stand. Because if you think about value overall, how can you provide value to people? You basically identify or understand what their dream outcome is. And then your dream outcome is their desired state. And then the questions are, how can I make it less risky? How can I deliver that in half the time and make it twice as easy? So that's basically what value to me means. So you can apply that to basically every business. I give you an example here. Okay, so value to you guys. Okay, whoever is watching or listening. What does value mean? You're probably expecting something out of this. Let's say you have your own business, or you just want to do some personal development, and you've seen me talk about those topics, and you're like, okay, value to me would mean that he talks about that stuff that's directly applicable to me. So I want it delivered in this session, not in a week, because I don't want to be waiting for that topic to pop up. So value would mean right now. So address my concern right now, deliver it in such a way that I understand it, meaning make it easy, and somehow guarantee that success for me. That would be ultimate value if you think about it. And how much are people willing to pay for that then? I would argue quite a bit. So then that's why in yesterday's session we were talking about how to understand value. So I said that the way I always do is that I break the value chain into three pieces, before, during, and after. And I put myself in the customer's shoes, understanding what are the pain points that these people go through when they buy from me. Excuse me. And then I identify all those problems related to it. Then I put together the solutions after that. And then I narrow it down, and then that's the offer, so to say. So if you do it that way, you most likely have a very good understanding as far as what people appreciate. And then if you structure your value proposition and your whole business idea around that, you have a very good chance of being able to raise the price and not compete against everybody else on price. I think that's the value of value, if you will. That's how I look at it. Who, what, and how. If I had to choose, it's always who. People make the biggest difference. Yeah. Culture beats strategy every day, any day, all day. You can have the perfect X's and O's drawn by the coach, put together the perfect strategy, but if you don't have the right culture, the right mindset, the right people to execute it, it makes no difference. I like the strategy part of sports, those sports that I understand. And I always think about it, how certain people on media, on TV, always talk about the X's and O's. And, but the more I think about it is that there are just so many ways how you can win as far as the X's and O's go, strategy. But building that winning culture, that mentality, and having the right people, of course you can have all kinds of talent too, but it's a lot harder, in my opinion, having the culture in place. And when I was in corporate, I became a manager when I was 25, so I was really young. And I don't know if I was a good boss. People liked me, My team members said that I was tough but fair. I don't always look this way, meaning no hair and stuff, but I think I was a good manager. I don't know if I was the best on the planet in any way, but I think I was good. I was demanding, like I said, but I was fair. And but ever since I started my own business, I've kind of wanted to be solo or have a very small and light and nimble organization. Now what I did with my third business that I started from scratch was something different. I hired somebody sooner than I have done it in the past, meaning I'm still running losses with the company, with the coaching business, but I still hired somebody anyhow to be able to expedite that initial part and just understanding what I need to do to get better. And I delegated those tasks to somebody else that I would have done in the past. So it's interesting to see what the results are going to be. I would say we'll see in 6 months. By the end of the year, I should be able to get some results with this strategy. If not, then I have to reevaluate. So I said in the beginning it's going to take 5 years. We shall see if I'm right. Because building a brand, starting from literally from zero, with zero brand recognition, name recognition, face recognition with me, I felt, looking at the big picture, that's going to take 5 years. But deep down, I know that I'm going to be disappointed if it takes that long. Any questions? Not too many questions today, or actually no questions today. Yesterday we had many. People are shy and quiet. If not, this is then something I'm gonna do probably another one of these lives today in the afternoon. I have a bunch of meetings, but we'll see what time would be the best one for me to do that. But I'm trying to. I've been doing two of these every day. It's been super fun, by the way. I haven't mentioned that today, but talking to the camera like this, it's just fun. But since there's not that much activity today, which is fine, I'm gonna call it quits here or end the stream right now, and then unless there's a question popping up right now, and then I'll dial back in. I'll dial back in later. So